to video 3 for week 4 of chemistry. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about solutions. Now, we have already talked about solutions. We talked about heterogeneous solutions and homogeneous solutions. And we know that homogeneous solutions are the ones where something is dissolved in something else so that it's mixed, the mixture is very even. We made a mixture in last week in one of our videos, and though it isn't completely finished, I just wanted to show you what's happened after some time of sitting out in the open. Of course, you remember that we were able to remove the sand, but we still had a solution, a homogeneous solution of salt dissolved in water. And so after a week, I have what's left of that solution. And you can see that we're already having some salt forming on the edges of this beaker. So we're gonna leave it and we're gonna come back to it again next week and see what the final product is. The definition of solution is two or more substances or compounds mixed together very well so that all the atoms and molecules are evenly distributed. And remember, that's called a homogeneous solution. Solutions always have one solvent, and that is the substance that is present in the greatest amount. And solutions may have one or more solutes, and these are the substances that are dissolved in the solvent. In a solution, something is always dissolved in something else. So that's basically a definition of a solution. And it can be separated into its parts using some kind of process, okay? So like evaporation, or there's different mechanical ways that things can be separated. Most solutions that we know, and the easiest ones that we're probably most familiar with, are liquid, but not all are. So again, we're very familiar with NaCl, or sodium chloride, in solution in a water solution, in an aqueous solution, and that's a saltwater solution. You can also have other solutions though. You can have water as a solvent, and you can have sucrose as the solute. You can also combine the sucrose, the sugar, and the salt together in water. And so you would have one solvent, that's the water, and you would have two solutes, that's the salt and the sugar. Some other solutions can be a gas-to-gas solution. You can have a liquid-to-liquid, a solid-to-solid, and an example of a solid-to-solid solution would be silver and copper. In this kind of a solution, the silver is the solvent and the copper is the solute. So the copper is dissolved in the solvent, the silver, and the end product is sterling silver. A gas to liquid solution would be carbonated water. In carbonated water, you would have the solvent is again the water, and the CO2, or the carbon dioxide, is the solute. Solutions can be described physically in terms of how much solute is dissolved in the solvent. So here you have a slide where we have 3 different kinds of solutions. The first solution is an unsaturated solution, or a dilute solution. So you would have your solvent, like water, and you would maybe add just a very little bit of salt or sugar into the solvent, the water, and it would produce a very dilute solution. The second example is called a saturated solution. And that's if you added more and more until you reach the point where no more solvent can dissolve in, no more solute can dissolve in the solvent. So you reach a point, that's a point in a solution. Once you add more to that kind of a solution, the saturated solution, you get what's called a supersaturated solution. And so that's when you have a certain amount of solvent and a certain amount of solute added where you can't dissolve it all. So not all the solute can dissolve. And so what happens is some of the solute will fall to the bottom of your solution. It will precipitate out and it will form things like crystals at the bottom of your solution because you've gone past that maximum amount of solute. So a supersaturated solution will result in some of the solute precipitating out of the solution and not dissolving. In a sugar solution, we use sugar in solution often, and we drink a lot of those kind of solutions as well. A sugar solution is used in our kitchen, it's used in the laboratory, and is often used for medical purposes. So in a hospital, a patient may be given a sugar or glucose solution through an IV, an intravenous tube, in a vein. And this solution is used to replace electrolytes in the patient or to feed them. It's giving them energy. To someone who might be very sick or who might come into the hospital and be dehydrated, for example. And so they need that extra hydration. And one of the ways they do this is by hooking them up by IV to a glucose solution. And this can be given in different concentrations. It could be a 5%, a 10%, or 20% concentration. This percentage of glucose presents the amount of solute in the solvent. That's the water. So that is one of the practical ways that a solution is used in medicine, and we use it in other ways in our kitchen and in other areas as well. And that brings us to the end of our third video. Have fun doing all the activities this week. I think there's some fun things for you guys to try, and we'll see you